Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into Lesson 3, 211 CFR 211, Subpart C, focusing specifically on buildings and facilities. Now, proper facility design, it's not just about having a roof over your head, is it? It's literally the absolute foundation of USC GMP compliance. Think about it. If the building itself fails, every single pharmaceutical process happening inside its walls is immediately a risk. Let's get into it. We're going to take a blueprint to operation approach today. We'll start with the physical shell, move on to critical utilities, then sanitation and maintenance, and finally wrap up with audit risks and operations. So, what exactly does Subpart C actually cover? Well, it sets out the regulatory requirements that ensure pharmaceutical manufacturing environments genuinely support CGMP. This is done through proper design, HVAC, plumbing, sanitation, and maintenance. The really crucial takeaway for us here is that you've got to view the building itself as a critical tool. It's a vital, active participant in preventing contamination and mix-ups, rather than just some passive shell where manufacturing happens to take place. Right, let's look at Section 1, the physical shell, designing for compliance. You know, the physical layout of your facility absolutely dictates your success right from day one. When we look at sections 211.42 and 44, it's clear a facility must have adequate lighting, be of a suitable size, and crucially, allow for the orderly flow of both equipment and materials. Why does this matter? Because an orderly flow directly prevents mix-ups. We also need strictly separate operational zones for different steps in the process. And it doesn't stop there. The surfaces, we're talking your walls, floors, and ceilings, must be smooth, cleanable, and non-shedding. That's absolutely vital to eliminate the risk of cross-contamination. Now, here is an absolute non-negotiable rule you need to bear in mind. Dedicated facilities are strictly required for penicillin and beta-lactams. You literally cannot just vigorously clean a room and switch products. No way. Even trace amounts, we're talking down in the parts per billion range, can trigger severe anaphylaxis in patients. So physical, completely dedicated separation is your only compliant path forward here. Alongside those static walls, we have the dynamic air. Section 211.46 sets out the HVAC expectations. Naturally, we need adequate ventilation, with carefully controlled temperature and humidity where required. But crucially, we must have HEPA filtration in sterile areas. The really essential point to grasp here is the why behind differential pressure. Your HVAC systems have to maintain a positive differential pressure to actively drive air away from clean zones toward less clean zones. It basically acts as an invisible wall, constantly protecting your product from dust, fumes, and any microbial ingress. Moving on to Section 2, critical utilities, water, plumbing, and waste. Section 211.48 requires us to rigorously police our water streams. It's essential to clearly contrast potable water, which just meets standard EPA drinking water standards, against pharma-grade water, which has to meet rigorous USP standards, like purified water or water for injection. You absolutely must know exactly which stream is feeding which process. And these streams must be strictly controlled, sanitized, and continuously monitored both chemically and microbiologically. There is simply zero margin for error with your water. And tying into that, sections 211.48, 50, and 52 cover plumbing, drains, sewage, and washing facilities. Have a look at the non-negotiables here. You've got to have backflow prevention devices, trapped and sealed drains, absolutely no cross-connections, and entirely isolated toilet and sewage lines that are safely disposed of well away from drug manufacturing. Seriously, a trap drain and a proper backflow preventer are your frontline defense against a potentially catastrophic microbial backup from the sewage system right into a clean room. Okay, let's turn to Section 3, sanitation and maintenance, active programs. As we all know, a building doesn't just stay clean on its own. Sections 211.50 and 56 make it very clear that sanitation isn't just sending someone in with a mop. It requires rigorous, written programs. You have to ensure safe refuse handling, maintain a written pest control program, keep your sanitation SOPs completely current, use approved, non-contaminating cleaning agents, and this is key, maintain dated, signed sanitization records. You need to prove on paper that absolutely nothing in your facility is harboring contamination. But what happens when things break or need routine servicing? Well, Section 211.58 dictates the maintenance flow, and it's a strictly chronological process. Step 1, you start with approved written maintenance SOPs. Step 2, you execute against a set preventative maintenance schedule. Step 3, all repairs and calibrations have to be properly documented and QA approved. And Step 4, which is absolutely crucial, Post-maintenance qualification. If a contractor opens up a piece of equipment or alters a room in any way, qualification before reuse is mandatory. You can't just turn the machine back on and hope for the best, right? Which brings us nicely to Section 4, Audit Risks and Practical Discipline. Let's use a bit of an audit backward approach here, looking at common FDA Form 483 findings. If an inspector finds your HVAC differential pressures are drifting, well, it means you lacked continuous monitoring. Shared penicillin areas? That's a massive failure of dedicated facility design. Cracked surfaces? You've clearly missed your surface integrity walkdowns. Pest findings inside GMP areas point straight to a failing pest control trending program. And overdue water system sanitization means your strict preventative maintenance schedule is just being ignored. As you can see, every single one of these citations directly correlates to failing to follow the mitigations we've just been discussing. So, to prevent those 483s, we need a really strong practical operations interface. Operations must execute exactly per the approved SOPs, while quality makes independent release decisions. It requires continuous training, a genuinely shared responsibility for absolutely perfect documentation, and maintaining inspection readiness as a constant state. I really want to stress this point. Inspection readiness is a continuous, daily discipline between ops and QA. It is absolutely not a panicked fire drill the moment an auditor walks into the reception area. Before we wrap things up today, let's do a quick knowledge check. Have a think about this to lock in one of the most critical safety parameters we've covered. Under Section 211.42, facilities for penicillin must be A. Shared with other product lines, B. Dedicated and separate, C. Exempt from CMGM, or D. Used only for development. Take just a second to think about it. Got your answer? The correct answer is B. They must be dedicated and completely separate from other drug products. We use authoritative separation here specifically to prevent life-threatening cross-contamination. Remember, that's not just best practice, it's a strict regulatory requirement. Let's rapidly summarize to solidify what we've covered. Think of Subpart C as your facility's operational Bible. Section 211.42 dictates your design to prevent mix-ups. 211.46 acts as your environmental shield via the HVAC system. 211.48 strictly controls your water grades, and the 50 series mandates your ongoing rigorous sanitation and maintenance programs. I want to leave you with this final critical thought. If your facility's physical shell compromises the product, can any downstream process truly save it? Really think about that. The immense responsibility of maintaining a compliant manufacturing environment rests entirely on Subpart C. Get the building right, or absolutely everything else is built on a compromised foundation. Thanks for joining this explainer, and I hope this structured look at the regulations really empowers your daily operations.